Alright lads, so let's talk about 1000 Year Blood War and this current state of the filler pool. Because while 1000 Year Blood War, when we got the return back in 2023, while it was very exciting to get characters that we've been waiting a very long time for, like Eban for example, and also Kill Game Bambietta, sometimes, occasionally, the excitement can be hampered a tad bit and maybe ruined for a lot of players when you have a look at the other characters that are summonable alongside the main characters you want. Using this banner as an example, one of our first anime 1000 Year Blood War banners back in 2023, the filler pool only featured characters from that particular arc, but these characters, because they had to be 1000 Year Blood War, meant that we were getting fillers from 2020, 19, 18. Characters that are many years old, which at this point in time, most of them didn't even resurrect. And this was the always unfortunate truth about 1000 Year Blood War banners, is that the filler pool couldn't really be that good. And ultimately, the main reason why we were seeing something like this is because we just weren't getting 1000 Year Blood War characters. Because round 14, Ichigo and Rukia were the last 1000 Year Blood War banner for at least a year and a half, close to 2 years at a certain point, because the license, long story short, basically expired, and we weren't going to get 1000 Year Blood War characters until the anime did return, which did happen back near the end of 2022. So because there was this year and a half gap, close to 2 years, of no 1000 Year Blood War characters, that unfortunately meant those 2 years of characters here that we all see could never really be put into a 1000 Year Blood War banner. And how many times am I going to say 1000 Year Blood War in this video? So unfortunately for this time period, a lot of new characters coming to the game, a lot of exciting characters were unfortunately met with very bad filler pools. Lucky for us though, that was a thing of the past. Because what we have been seeing, especially in the year 2024, was a lot of 1000 Year Blood War banners. One happening every end of month, and in some cases, especially at the end of the year, every 2 weeks for mid-month and also end of month. And while this wasn't that long ago, right, we all experienced it if you were playing the game in the last 6 or so months. It was quite brutal for us, even Wells and free-to-play players, like having a potential exciting banner every 2 weeks. It can be exciting, but at the same time, it can be quite dreadful for free-to-plays or anyone's orb source because, you know, you don't want to pull every 2 weeks. Sometimes you don't even want to pull every month. It's nice to have down periods where you want to save up orbs for the next big banner. And when you're getting 1000 Year Blood War every 2 weeks, you know, it can be quite brutal. And it also meant that a lot of these characters, a lot of these banners were just limited time characters. But the benefit that I have been saying for quite some time is that with all these banners, it means that future 1000 Year Blood War banners will get better because we're finally going to start getting better filler. And I've basically been saying that for the last year. And for the most part, I was correct. We saw during the 9th anniversary, which basically marked the 1 year since 1000 Year Blood War did officially return, with the anime characters in particular, going from season 1 onwards, Yachiru, Chojuro, and Yamamoto, last year's second part anniversary, was featured as filler characters. And that was great, because these 3 characters were great, especially Unohana, and it made the anniversary banner better, because you have 3 new characters to go for, and then also 3 of last year's characters that still held up relatively well, again, especially Yachiru. Unfortunately, you still had some old characters in there, but that was because, again, there weren't many other characters to pick from. And essentially, we would see this trend continue. Since there are so many banners now at this point that can or should rerun, it means characters are now going to start becoming fillers a lot sooner than expected. And for those that are wondering, the current expectation in terms of how long it takes for you to become a filler is that if you are an end-of-month unit, it takes around 1 year. And if you're a mid-month character, it takes around 6 months. That's what it was, but we've now started to see that get sped up a tad bit, and you can't really say for certain, because some characters, which we'll talk about later, took even longer than a year, and some characters became fillers a lot sooner than expected. But that's the general time frame when to expect a character to become a filler. It's essentially when Kellab stopped deciding to rerun their banner. But like I said, since there's so many banners that now need to rerun, because we've gotten so many 1000 Year Blood War banners, we're seeing characters become fillers a lot sooner than expected. So if you have this as an example, right, the end of year banner that came out, you know, at this point 2 months ago, we saw characters like Toshiro and also Rangiku become fillers. Unfortunately, not the greatest selection of fillers, but nonetheless, it was great to see a character become a filler a lot sooner. In this case for Toshiro, it only took 10 months, and in case for Rangiku, it only took 9 months. And that end of year banner basically set a good example of what we would expect in the year 2025, even though we're only 3 months into the year. If we use our first end of month banner as an example, very good surprise here seeing one Senjumara as a filler, but at the same time, most importantly, Ishin, a character that came out in April last year, once more becoming a filler in around 9 or so months, still an amazing character, and having a character like this overall just enhanced the value for this particular banner. Our most recent end of the month is another example of that, even more so because it did feature these swimsuit Bambis, who came out in June last year, so around 9 months. It seems like at this point, you start to become a filler in 9 months if you are an end of the month unit. And this was great because I know for me, as an example, I would have not pulled in this banner if it weren't for the swimsuit Bambis. Having all 3 of them there definitely enhanced the value for this banner and was the main deciding factor for me going 15 steps in it to said banner. So going into our most recent announcement this morning, the main reason I want to make this video is that we do have Basby and Robert returning for the first time, and likely the last time before they do become a filler in around 3 to 4 months. There's actually a decent chance these characters become fillers during the 10th anniversary, at least when it comes to Part 2's banner. Because this banner right here, if you have a look at the actual filler pool, this is kind of crazy to see, at least in my opinion, because it doesn't feature a single old 1000G Blood War banner, and only features characters since the return of 1000G Blood War during the 7th anniversary. Like, I think it's kind of cool that the oldest character in the banner is Yamamoto, so technically, like, the worst character in this banner is Yama, Aizen, and also Uryu, since they are the oldest, but at the same time, having Yama as your worst character in a banner is actually really good. It's also worth noting, this is the first time that Yhwach has returned as a filler. His banner in particular, especially him and Ichigo, took way too long to become fillers in my opinion. They are end of year characters, so technically they are special, but these characters really should have showed up 3 months ago during the end of year banner with Ichigo, Senjumaru, and also Askin. But nonetheless, it is still good that this character is a filler pool, and in all honesty, especially with the announcement that we did get a couple of days ago, where we can get a choose a 6 stuff for logging into the game after 7 days, from the wording of it, it does seem like it is just pick one character. Initially, we thought it would be pick 10, but it seems like you get to outright pick the character you want. And if you are someone that skipped the most recent end of month banner, Shinji, Momo, and also Ruka, you can now just pick the character you want for free. Most likely, everyone, for those that are missing the character, is going to pick Shinji. He definitely is the best character in this selection. So if you skipped end of month, you're now potentially getting Shinji, Momo, or Ruka for free in a couple of days' time. That might mean you have some leftover orbs, or plenty of orbs to spare, to potentially summon a banner like this, and honestly, I wouldn't blame you. For those that are wondering if this banner is worth summoning on, I do feel like the filler make it a lot more worthwhile. I'm personally going to be skipping it, because I do have like almost every character in this banner 5-5, but like if you're new to the game, or someone that is missing a large amount of characters in this banner, throwing at most 5 steps honestly wouldn't hurt you. But this isn't me saying it has to be a must summon, right? I do think you can skip this with ease and just get them later on, because what we are seeing is that it is a good selection of characters, but all these fillers here, including even Yhwach, we're going to see many times over the next month or 2, right? 3 months, 4 months, 5 months even. Most of the time nowadays, especially if we're pulling on end of month banners, they likely are 1000G Blood War, and every now and then, especially with the amount of cards that we do have, you're going to see these characters appear a lot as fillers. So it might be a bit tempting to summon on the banner now, but like you will get all these characters here. Senju, Yuha, Aizen, Yamamoto, for example, you will see them quite a lot. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because it is great to see good fillers like this. Keep in mind that the banner itself isn't as good as when it was first introduced. It is just a normal banner format, so step 1 and 2, 6, 7, etc. is discounted. 5-star, guaranteed every 5 steps, which does guarantee you one of these 9 characters, so do pull at your own accord. But I honestly don't think it's a bad banner, and I think this is just the prime example of what we are going to be seeing in 2025, since we have gotten so many 1000G Blood banners after the last year or 2. We're finally starting to see, hopefully, the benefits of that with just better value fillers. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it still comes down to KLab, as they are the ones that decide who becomes fillers. And every now and then, especially during a potential exciting banner, we might have a very stinky filler pool. But at the same time, the opposite can be said. I think we're going to start seeing some really good fillers this year. We're already seeing it on the end of month banners. Like, I was likely pulling regardless for the end of month of February and also January, but having the filler pool that we had honestly made summoning a lot easier. And it's always benefited kind of having better filler pools, because at the end of the day, having a good filler pool doesn't guarantee you the characters, right? You still have to get lucky and pull them. But I will say it is nice getting other good characters alongside the main characters, because, you know, when you are putting for the main character and sometimes you don't get them, again, it is RNG at the end of the day. It is nice knowing that you walked with at least something of value. Like, I got very lucky on this banner when I did summon, but if I walked away with Candice, Menina, and also Bambietta, I wouldn't have been as disappointed, which is something that you couldn't say a year ago, back when you know, there was basically no new character they could put as fillers. But with that said, that's the video for today. Just wanted to have a discussion video in regards to the state of fillers in Brave Souls as far as 1000G Blood War is concerned. Definitely can't always be better, but it seems like we are progressing to better fillers going into 2025, which we have been seeing the last month or two. And it also just gave me a good opportunity to talk about this banner that is coming out tomorrow morning. Again, I wouldn't blame you for doing maybe the discounts. Maybe go to step 5 if you are somewhat new. That's if you just really want the characters. Like Robert and also Bazby are actually pretty good. They are both guild quest units, so only pull for Bazby for the immediate storybook guild quests, and then Robert only pull for him for the ranged Aranka guild quest. So I myself actually might do the discount, but keep in mind the banner itself is here until the 18th. That means we're going to know what mid-month is going to be. So as always, make sure you just save your odds for a couple of days and then maybe go summon if you want the characters. I know Bazby is a popular character nonetheless, so people might be summoning regardless. And if that's the case, let me know in the comments below what your summon plan is. Hopefully you get lucky and get what you want, and considering the filler pool here, honestly it isn't too bad. But remember, someone like Bazby and Robert should start to appear as fillers in around 3 or so months time. Again, I feel like there's a pretty good chance they are going to be seen during the anniversary banner. And with that in mind, with all the characters that we can get during the anniversary, in terms of fillers, the 10th anime might have an absolutely stacked banner, something that we've never seen before for part 2 of the anniversary. And that's something that I'm, at least personally, looking forward to. With that said though, hope you liked and enjoyed the video. See you lads next time. Take care and peace.